I'd like to tell you about a little boy named Jeffrey Baldwin. Jeffrey was a normal, healthy, happy little boy. For reasons that remain unexplained, Jeffrey was placed into the care of his grandparents, by all accounts an unfit couple with a history of abusing children by the CCAS. The grandmother inflicted unimaginable abuse on little Jeffrey. He was locked in a cold room full of urine and feces-soaked mattresses for hours a day. He was physically abused. He was called Pig. He was starved. Jeffrey died just before his 6th birthday. He weighed just 21 pounds, less than he had when he was 1. What people sometimes forget when remembering this horrific case is that Jeffrey had a sister, only 1 year older, who was also placed into the grandparents' care and who was subject to the same horrible abuse as Jeffrey. The only difference? For some reason, she was sent to half-day kindergarten. Jeffrey wasn't so lucky. Doctors say it was the snacks she received there, some milk, a bit of cheese and crackers, that saved her life. What may shock you is that no one at the school, including her teacher, Odette Reverito, reported any suspicions of abuse to CAS. So who has a duty to report? In fact, under the Child and Family Services Act, everyone does. But professionals that work closely with children are expected to have a special awareness of the signs of abuse and neglect, and therefore have a greater legal responsibility to report. Miss Reverito was questioned as part of a coroner's inquest into Jeffrey's death. The media judged her harshly, but should we be so quick to judge? Would we have reported if we were in her place? Don't be so sure. There are many reasons why teachers hesitate to report. I'd like to talk about 3 of them. The first is confusion as to what constitutes neglect. 2 teachers at the inquest talked about how little training they had received as new teachers to spot the signs of neglect, agreeing that sometimes the subtle signs of neglect are difficult to tell from the signs of simple poverty, which is not a crime. Neglect doesn't always go hand in hand with sad or withdrawn behavior. Miss Reverito testified that Jeffrey's sister was happy, cheerful, and eager to socialize with other children. So what can you do? Educate yourself. The OCT provides a lot of information, and these websites explain further what neglect can look like. When you are in doubt, call CAS. You can talk to them first without making an official report. They won't get mad. This is their job. Another reason teachers hesitate to report? Self-doubt and fear. Maybe it's not what I think. I don't want to anger the parents or get sued. Here's what we need to remember as teachers. We don't need to be sure. What we need are reasonable grounds to suspect, and as long as your intentions are good and your fears reasonable, you are protected from liability if the allegations prove false. As far as angering a parent, there are times when you will just have to risk that to keep a child safe. A third reason teachers hesitate to report? Mistrust of the system. I'm sure we've all read horror stories of children being placed into care without good reason. Indeed, the CCAS came under intense scrutiny for its failure to protect Jeffrey. The reality is, this is the system we have to work with, and we need to learn to trust it. Again, you need to educate yourself. The truth is that most of the time, the child is not removed from the home, and CAS works with the family to solve the problems. Again, you can visit these websites for more information. Jeffrey's story is hard to hear, but Jeffrey has left a legacy. The coroner's inquest led to no less than 103 recommendations from the jury to improve the child welfare system in Canada, and improvements are being made in his name. There is now a statue of Jeffrey in Toronto, pictured as the happy little boy he was before he came into his grandparents' care. Let us always remember him like this, but never forget his story and the importance of our duty to report.